Hi, everybody. This is
Hi.
Chetan. We'll get started in another minute or two. Nice to see lots of familiar faces.
Hi.
Some faces. Sudha, we met in Pune just a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I can see Kanwal is back. Nandini, you're here. We were together an hour back. Actually, I just left the Himalayan Writing Retreat, but Nandini Tripathi, who's here, is actually still at the Himalayan Writing Retreat. Lucky girl. I'm sitting at a cafe and doing this call using my Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's great to see lots of familiar faces. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Hi, Renu. Welcome back. Let's give it a couple more minutes, then we'll get started. Yeah. And since I'm in a cafe, I have to pay for the Wi-Fi. So this is payment in kind. It's called corn tikki and chai. Nice Friday evening. If you're familiar with the area, the cafe I'm at is called Bel Patra. It's has Indian food, and it's about an hour and a half from the Himalayan Writing Retreat at a place called Bhintar. Sheetal is back again. Hi, Sheetal.
Hi Chetan, good to be back.
Yeah, and while we're waiting, I should also let you know there's a young girl called Ashisha, and she was in FDC 8, and she's just published her book. It's coming out, or it's been, the release has been announced actually yesterday, and the book is on pre-order right now. It will be available for sale from the 5th of September. So I'll share the link. But yeah, it will be great if there's support from you, and if you find it intriguing. The name is Misadventures of a Sales Girl. And it seems to be set in Chennai, so sounds promising already. Hi, Sohani. Sohani is also sitting at the Himalayan Writing Retreat.
Hi Chetan, I am new. My name is Parjanya.
Hi, Parjanya. Welcome. I think Priya Hajela is also new. Not met her before. So yeah, cool. All right. So well, it's 5:03. So this session is usually quite short. It doesn't take a very long time. We'll keep it tight. So welcome everyone. As you know, in the group, I think it's more than. Namita, how many people finally right now? I thought it was. Yeah, so 52 people in the group right now. That's a good healthy number. So half of you are here. And what happens is very simple. For those of you who are here for the first time, we meet every Sunday like today at this same time, 5 o'clock, 5 to 6. And we interact with people who are knowledgeable and often very inspiring. So this time we are meeting with the literary agent Jacaranda, India's latest and amongst India's most respected literary agencies. We're going to be meeting with Shatrujit Nath. Shatrujit Nath is a well-known author and a very interesting guy. In fact, it's a coincidence somebody shared his quote in the same group couple of days ago. Then we'll be meeting with a publisher from Bloomsbury. Bloomsbury is one of the big 5 publishers in the world. And finally, we'll be meeting with Vandita Dubey, who has published one book with Rupa, and she's just completing her second book, which is a non-fiction book. And she is my better half and also the co-founder of the Himalayan Writing Retreat. That's not why we're inviting her. We are inviting her because she's publishing her second book, and she's in search for a title. So try and come in for that session, because we'll also be picking your brains and trying to find some good ideas for her title. Through the conversation, you'll find out more about her book, and then we are fishing for a good title. Vandita is also a clinical psychologist trained in the US, and she's the author of the book Parenting in the Age of Sexposure, which was published by Rupa a few years back. So those are our 4 guests, and we'll be meeting them 5 to 6 every Sunday, and then we'll have a closing session like this one, which will end up being in the first week of October. You already have seen the tracker. What happens in the tracker is very simple. It's a tool for you to be able to find buddies, to be able to find, to make writing groups. We don't moderate that process. It's open, and everybody's welcome to just look at other folks' profiles. So the information we ask you to share is what is your genre, what is your word count target, which city are you in, also who are your favorite authors, because I think that'll help you kind of seek each other out. Contact information is basically by way of a WhatsApp group. And finally, so through that tracker, you can find like-minded people. Some people, when they submitted the forms, especially repeat participants, haven't filled out the information, about genre, about or about city. It's hard for us to go back and dig out all information, even if you attended it again. So we've kept that column open. So anybody who's signing up, if that information is not there in the form, it's open. So please do add that information, because it is a little difficult for us to, go back and track down everybody's old forms and then try and use that information from there. Yeah, the purpose of the tracker is that, unlike NaNoWriMo, I'm sure many of you are familiar with NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo gives you a target of 50,000 words in the month. We don't impose a target on you, but you're welcome to set a goal for yourself. It could be 5,000 words, it could be 75,000 words. That's entirely your call. And then it's really for you to try and maintain the discipline and maintain the rhythm, so you keep your writing going on an everyday basis. If you update your tracker as regularly as possible, it's great for you and it's also great for other people. We do, try and give shout out to people who are doing well and staying on track. So if you keep your tracker updated, that also allows us to see who's doing what. We don't check it. We don't ask you to submit your writing. It's it's everybody just really assuming that you're going to be honest in the group. There's no brownie points, and there's no big prize for the winner, and there's no winner. But it's great if you are able to keep your own writing on track. That's really the goal here. And finally, we have the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is quite live. There's a lot of conversation that goes on, and lots of back and forth movement. Honestly, sometimes it's a little overwhelming for me as well. I will jump in, once in a while, as and when it's appropriate, but otherwise I may be quiet for long periods of time. So again, think of this more as a community, not as a class. This is not a course that you're doing. It's just a group of fellow writers, and the idea is that we'll work together, and we know that we are not alone, and we'll meet every Sunday and we'll chat with interesting people. And of course, the chat continues on the WhatsApp group. Good morning messages are banned. Anything except writing is banned. Don't share political opinions, none of that stuff. We are purely a writing community. We stick very, very closely with that. And even just that can be overwhelming, is what I'm saying. But yes, like today I was seeing the chatter about, Scrivener and are there better alternatives. Now that's exactly what we want to see, because it was instructive even for me. Even I learned about this other tool that was being mentioned, which I hadn't heard about before. So that's how it works. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can see more familiar faces. Hi, Devashish. Hi, Subi. It's nice to see you all. Lots of alums here. So yeah. Yes. So any questions? Shoot away.
Yes.
We can chat.
Yes. Chetan, I work as an advertising writer, so where the stress is never on the number of words. This is a little new to me. I understand it's very important to have a structure. Now, my question is, does this alone constitute the way to go forward, or for someone like me, I'll be honest, I've done a bit of short story writing, and it's not got published anywhere. And then this long form, which I want to do, I'm not quite sure about. Now, is that a really bad thing? Should I have my genre already, pre-decided? I'm kind of, running between 2 or 3 things to do. And while I'm saying that, fiction seems the most logical one, I also want to do something that feels like a, part autobiographical based on my innings in advertising, or I want to do free verses. Now, I don't know structures. So is it important to have the structures in place? And if so, can I expect some guidelines, guardrails at this point in time, or will I have to find my own? Like I was doing this personality mapping the other day. Somebody, Sagar, I think, shared something. So I'm a bit confused. If number of words alone, it is these, the objective, then I can definitely do my bit. But, that could be pure.
Understood the question. I've understood the question. So yeah, it's nice to talk to you because I was also in advertising, but that was in the old Stone Age. But anyway, the answer to your question is very simple. There are ways or places where you can learn the craft. This is not a place to learn the craft. This is purely a place, as the name says, to get your first draft done. Okay, so we're not about quality. We're not about the theme. We're not about the content as much as we are about making sure that you get enough writing done. The underlying thesis is a very simple one. If you have a first draft, then you can edit it and make it better. But if you don't have a first draft, then you have nothing to edit. So you have 3 days. Today is the 28th, so 29th, 30th, 31st. Okay, so what is the ideal way to be able to make the most of an FDC? Is very simple. You should come into the 1st of September with a project in mind. Okay, and ideally, it's not a project where you have to do research. It's a project where you're already ready to go. You've already got a concept in mind. You've got some characters. You've got some conflict. You might even, already have written something, and maybe you're coming off of 5 or 10 or 15,000 words. So what this does is it takes a pre-existing idea, and it helps you. And if you've been stuck, or if you've been kind of wanting to do it but not being able to do it, it'll help you. It'll push you forward. But you have to know what it is. You can't be discovering what your project is if you're at that stage. The group will still provide energy. The group will still provide direction and input, but it's not a place where you'll get to learn. So if you have conviction that you have a specific project that you want to go after, that's what you should be trying to complete during this project. I can give my own example. I have a novel called Tara and Vishnu. I was stuck at about 30,000 words. I joined FDC, and I finished it by day 19 because I was writing about 1,400 words a day. So I had finished it by day 19. But I already had this project. It had been stuck, and I needed a push. And so that's how FDC normally works. Right? I hope that answers your question. Any other questions, folks? I can see something in the chat. Let me pull that up. So, yeah, I saw that conversation.
Yeah, Sagar, it has been added in the sheet.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion instead of sending.
I noticed that. Yeah. Sorry for.
So the chat question is, can we add a column for Twitter and Instagram handles? I think it's a good idea. So Namrata's already. So, yeah. Other questions? Anybody else have a doubt or wants to find out something else about FDC? If not, I can offer you a.
Chetan, you can also mention about the writing prompts.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. Let's. Who's that? Is that Ram?
This is Sagar.
Sagar, yeah. Okay. In the meantime, I shall offer you a virtual Contiki. Yeah. We'll talk about writing prompts. Anybody else? Questions? No? Okay. So writing prompts, the way that it works, and this is not of use to nonfiction writers, or maybe I'm wrong, actually. I don't know. But but because nonfiction also can contain lovely stories and things like that. But the idea of a writing prompt is a very simple one, that every day we want to give you a writing prompt. But taking the ownership of giving all the writing prompts, I think it also makes it monotonous and a little boring. I will share a post in the WhatsApp group about what an ideal writing prompt should be and how to do it. I will give the first writing prompt on the 1st of September, and I will tag somebody. That somebody needs to make sure that another writing prompt is given on the 2nd of September before 8 a.m. Okay. And that's how it has to work for everyone. And that the person for the 2nd of September will tag someone else for the 3rd of September. And who you tag is completely random. It's like a lottery. So you don't have to feel forced to tag anybody in particular. You can just tag, anyone who you think is, has an interesting name, or somebody who's, just at random. There's no rules around that. But just don't repeat. So, that might be a little hard to take to keep track of. So if you get tagged the second time, you can just say, I've already been tagged. You can tag somebody else. Simple. Okay. As far as writing prompts are concerned, but in our experience, it gets very monotonous if it's the same kind of thing over and over again. So some people might give you a word and say, this is your writing prompt, anger. Okay. Somebody might give you a two-line situation saying, you're at a party and you see your ex. Okay, that's it. And now you have to, that's your writing prompt for the day. And the third, which I think I have found personally is very, very exciting, is a visual writing prompt. So you can also give a picture as a writing prompt. You can Google, you can troll the internet. There's lots and lots of websites which are offering different kinds of writing prompts. But see if you can find something that's interesting, that feels like it vibes for you. Some phenomenal pictures are available as writing prompts. They're all free. They're all on the internet. But if it's given for that day, and you should give a specific direction. So the writing prompt may not. So what's the purpose of the writing prompt? It doesn't necessarily go into your actual project. It doesn't necessarily go into your book, but it gets you writing. Okay. So if you're stuck, or you're kind of not getting into the flow, and you get a writing prompt which is a young boy walking to school, for example. Okay. Then the person who's giving the prompt also is expected to give some direction, saying write 250 words, write 500 words, write 300 words. And then you're free to share that, and a bit of a conversation happens, and that's how the writing prompt thing works. Yeah, but it's driven by you all again. I mean, this whole FDC is driven by all of you, so that's how it works. Other questions? Anyone else? Are the words written in writing prompt